In this video, I will talk about the software that you will need to set up on your own laptop for the course. You will need a text editor to write your code. Examples are Notepad or Notepad for Windows, TextEdit on the Mac. Visual Studio for Code works for both and also includes a debugger. The reason we need a text editor is because word processors have extra codes in them. So a word processor is used to write documents. Examples of that would be Microsoft Word, WordPerfect, Google Docs. In order to say when a new paragraph occurs or to mark that there's headings in it, there are hidden codes that it saves in that document, and if you try to run it, that interferes with the code executing. In addition, there are integrated development environments that can be used to write and edit code and also build and run the code. Examples of this would be Eclipse or Microsoft's Visual Studio. The integrated development environments have more features, making them more complicated to use, so we'll stick with one of the text editors for this class. This semester we're going to use Visual Studio Code, and so you will need to install that on your laptop. This works for both Mac and Windows. So what you'll need to do is click on the link. If you're using the PowerPoint, you'll have to control-click, or otherwise you can just type in the URL as you see. That will bring up the website in the browser, and you can see there's a big download button for you to select. And then if you're on the Mac, go ahead and select the Mac version to install. And if you're on Windows, go ahead and select the Windows version to install. If the download does not start automatically, there are some instructions right for you on the website. Mine did start, and so if I go to my downloads directory, I'll see a file that I can run. It may start automatically for you, it may not start automatically for you. If it doesn't, on Windows you can just double click on the exe and it will start the install. If you're downloading on the Mac, just go to your browser's download folder, and then you'll need to drag that Visual Studio Code download from that folder into your Applications folder. Once it's in your Applications folder, then you'll be able to double click it to launch it to get the application Visual Studio Code on your Mac. When you are installing Visual Studio Code, you can just accept all the defaults and the license, and then you will be all set to run. After installing, it automatically opens unless you told it not to, and you can see it has some release notes in it, and you can start editing and creating documents by creating a new document. You can just use text files, that's fine. So I'll put in a name for it. And it will ask you where you want to save. You're going to want to create a directory for you to store your information for this class, whether you're on the Mac or on a Windows machine. Create a new folder for your files. You can just on Windows right-click and say New Folder, and then you'll put in CS141 or Intro to Prog, whatever you want to call it, so that you'll have a place to store your work, and then you can create files in that directory. You can add that directory to Explorer so that you can always find your documents for the class easily. If you click on Open the Folder, find that folder that you just created and say that you want to add it. I'll go ahead and trust those files because I'm going to write them. And then you can see right away all the files that you have for this class right away when you go into Visual Studio Code. And you can put whatever you want into this text file and save it create new files, close files, just like other editors. If you need more assistance on editing files, don't hesitate to reach out to me and I will help you out. After you install Visual Studio Code, you'll want to install an internet browser if you do not have the one that we're going to use as a class. What is an internet browser? It's software that displays HTML pages from the internet based on an address. It can also display local files. Modern browsers execute JavaScript and provide what's called a DOM to access elements of the HTML page in JavaScript. And you'll learn more about that later. Examples are Chrome, Microsoft Edge, Internet Explorer, Firefox, Safari, Opera. Any of those will work, but we're all going to standardize on Chrome because it can be used on both Windows and Mac. It gives us access to a console where we can type in JavaScript code directly. On the next slide, I have a link that will allow you to install Chrome. It may already come installed on your laptop, but if it is not already installed, go ahead and use this link. You will be able to download Chrome, and it should detect if you're on Windows or Mac and allow you to download and install the correct version. It's the same process as installing Visual Studio Code. It may automatically start installing. If it doesn't, then go to that downloads directory, and on the Windows you can double click it right there. On the Mac you'll drag it to that applications folder so you can double click and install it. I'm actually using Chrome right now. That's my browser that it went to when I clicked on that link. You may be using a different browser. Once you install the browser, you can make it your default browser if you always want to use Chrome, or you can just open up Chrome directly when you want to work on this class. On the previous page, there were some instructions about opening a JavaScript console. And so on Windows, you can press Control-Shift-J. So I hold those keys down together. I find Control, hold it down, Shift, hold it down, and J. And that will bring up a JavaScript console for you to type in JavaScript. And we'll do that soon. Same thing works on the Mac. The keys are just slightly different. On the Mac, you're going to press Command, Option, and J, and that will also open up the same console where you'll be able to type in JavaScript code directly. Your last software setup does not actually install any software onto your laptop, but you do need to create an account on Khan Academy if you do not already have one. If you already have one, you can just go ahead and use the one you have. If you don't have an account, you can go to khanacademy.org and you will get a chance to create an account. If it comes up with your name up here already, that means you already have an account, and you can just click on the link provided on the Canvas page to join the class. You can see if you scroll down to the bottom of the software setup page, there is that link to go ahead and sign up.